Welcome to Always On Smallville, level 33.1, new 52, level 33.1, number 7. I'm your host, Zach Moore, and I'm joined by special guest from Always On to Arrow, Lance Laster.
What's up?
What's up? And we haven't talked in forever. And and 3, level 33.1 patrons, we have Joy Dienberg. What's up, Joy?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going? Do you say that in every hello and every social situation is like your go-to?
I think so.
Okay. It's good. It's good to have a go-to. Kasey Vach. What's up, Kasey?
Hello.
Hello. Good. And Isaiah Goodridge.
Hello there. Yeah.
All right. So, a couple things we can talk about in this podcast. Obviously, The Flash. I mean, The Flash came out, what, has it been 3 weeks now?
Has it been that long?
Something like that. Yeah,
I think I still see a little bit of like their marketing out and about on Facebook. Some paid promotions.
Came out June 20th. So
June 16th.
16th. Oh, my bad.
June 16th. I remember specifically because that's the day that George Reeves died.
Oof.
Yeah. Why would that have anything to do with The Flash?
That's a great question, Joe. I don't know why there would be any connection between the Adventures of Superman and The Flash. But anyway, we're recording this on July 9th, so less than a month after The Flash has come out. And it is like so far in the rearview mirror. It's just gone. Like it is, we're moving on. But we'll get into that a little bit. Obviously, Lance and I did a reaction podcast about it after we first saw it, as we with all new DC movies. And then I'm about to drop a Superman special that I've already recorded. You guys haven't heard yet.
Ooh.
And it's over 2 hours. I was talking about The Flash. Look forward to that, everyone. But we'll save that to the end. Let's talk some. This is a Superman podcast, right? Always on the Smallville, right? Superman. So let's talk some Superman stuff first. Superman legacy casting. Yeah, we did a brief Superman special on that, but let's just go around. Lance and I have already said our piece about it. But Joey, what you saw the news? What did you think of these new actors playing Clark Kent and Lois Lane in Superman Legacy?
Yeah, they look like those characters. That's pretty much all I have. I haven't seen. I don't watch a whole lot of non-superhero content, so I'm excited.
Very good. Kasey, what about you? Did you know these actors at all, or are you just excited to see them?
I've never seen them, but it seems like the Lois actor is very much like the the Christopher Reeve era Lois looking kind of person. Seems like they're going with that rather than, as much as I like the DCEU, the Lois and that doesn't really look the part. So I'm glad that they got somebody who kind of looks more like Lois, in my opinion. So,
on that note, did you think when they cast Amy Adams, who we all love from Smallville, obviously, and other things, but when they cast Amy Adams, did you think she was gonna dye her hair?
I did.
You would think so, right?
And yeah, and then I was thinking, I was like, she'd just be a better Lana, like So
that's an interesting take. Yeah,
that's because Lana in that, much like Smallville and Superman and Lois and every other version now apparently, had dark hair. So sure, good call. Isaiah, what about you? Have you seen these actors and actresses in anything before?
I have not. The shows and stuff that they're in, I like to joke that I'm not the demographic for it, so I haven't really seen them. And I'm not going to pretend like, I'm a casting director per se, but yeah, I can see the vision. And once again, it's just a departure from like what Zach was trying to do in terms of we're going to get, Oscar award winning actors and actresses and heavy gravitas, actors in these roles. And they seem to really embody much more of a humane approach to the characters that I think James is like looking to go into with this new universe. So yeah, I'm excited.
Zach and James.
Yeah, because I'm on first name basis with all of them.
Yeah. That's funny. That's funny. You think it's a departure from Henry Cavill because David Cornsweet looks like Henry Cavill's little brother, right?
He does, but much less handsome in a different way. I would say aggressive. Less aggressively handsome.
I know exactly what you're saying there. Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Put it down. Okay,
it's like the Liam Hemsworth, the Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Do we think they're gonna do the slicked back hair? They're gonna give him that curl.
He's getting the S curl.
Let's discuss that. Yeah. So yeah, David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan. I'm going to learn how to say these people's names. I learned how to say Tyler Hoechlin after a while, so I'll learn how to say their names too. Definitely have to do it doesn't have to be the perfect like Christopher Reeve hair, because everything about Christopher Reeve Superman is perfect, as you can see. It doesn't have to be just like that, but I would like something like that, because like these modern Superman, it's like Tyler Hoechlin has his like buzz cut or whatever. It's just the same all the time. And then Cavill, I liked his Man of Steel kind of messy look. And then the more like slick down and like gel it was, I was like, I don't like that. Like, it's just like, that doesn't look very natural. So I would like them to go with the kind of messy curl look for the Superman hair. And then the Clark Kent have the, slick down kind of thing going on. That's my opinion. But
I think they're probably gonna do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
James really seems like
what did James have to say, Isaiah? What did James?
When I talked to him yesterday, he seemed really passionate about.
He's writing that script.
Lance, that's something that we didn't talk about in ours. Like, what do you think for the looks of them here as the character? Is that what you're thinking too for the appearance?
Yeah, I think they're gonna definitely shoot to make a distinction between the personalities, right? It's like Clark and Superman here, because you're right, because like Tyler, like his hair is the same whether he's Clark or Superman, and he still has his 5 o'clock shadow going, which I kind of like, but like it seems like it's more pronounced when he's Superman versus being Clark. So I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah, I think they're going to definitely make a concerted effort to make sure that there is a distinction between the two, because you would think that some effort would be put into that, considering that's what's gone on for 80 years. So the hope is that they do it.
Yeah, I made a joke tweet, not a joke tweet, it's a real tweet. But it was a funny observation. I thought, like, Tyler Hoechlin, he looked more different as the two Supermen on Supergirl and Superman Lois than he does as Clark and Superman on Superman Lois. It's the hair, the shave. I don't know. I mean, he's grown into the character more, but he looked more like a different Superman than, if that makes sense. But
he was a different Superman.
But okay, all right. Well, your dad's the only hero. You kids don't know how good you have it. Anyway, I was talking to Diggle over at Argus, and he has this file he dropped off. God, amazing. So Lance, you've seen the Marvelous Miss Maisel, right?
Yeah.
What did you think?
It's a good show.
Yeah. She's going to be good. I mean, I've seen nothing but praise for that show and her performance. So
yeah, no, I think she'll do a good job. She's a great actress. So, and Maisel is a somewhat of a period piece, and that character kind of has some Lois energy to her. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I can see the correlation. I can see what they are looking for, what they're wanting to go towards, and you can kind of see what wheels were turning in James's head. If we're going to be using first names here, so see what James is going for. So with that casting, so because like when I didn't even know that she was in the running, because all I'd heard was like Emma Mackey, like for like, the longest. And then all of a sudden, like you hear that, her name gets Rachel Brosnahan's name get brought up. And I was like, oh, well, that's who they're going to pick. In my head. That's what I'm thinking, based on how good Maisel is, how good she is in it. And then the type of energy that character has is very similar to Lois. So I kind of put all that together and was not shocked when she was selected.
It'd be cool if it was a period piece movie. It's not going to be because, it's connected to, Superman Legacy is the first movie, but Blue Beetle is the first character in the DCU. So I guess it takes place today. I think that'd be cool. Maybe people are like, oh, you're going back and let's move forward. But I don't know, like period piece Batman or Superman, because that's when the characters were created. If we're really going to do Elseworlds, I think it'd be cool to have a one-off movie like Batman in 1939 with his purple gloves, throwing people off buildings and stuff.
Yeah. I would like if they did like an Art Deco at least look for the Daily Planet. Like get the Daily Planet looking like Daily Planet should be like a character on itself. Like if they could just do that, unlike the movies that we had where it was just like a building with that looks doesn't look cool at all.
A building? Where do you want? No, I hear what you're saying. Like at Superman Returns, I think nailed that pretty well. Even though like it shouldn't have, because it was a sequel to Christopher Reeve movies where it was just a building. But yeah, that's, I think when in your head, when you close your eyes, you think the Daily Planet, you do some Art Deco building with the globe on the top. That's a must, by the way. Can we get the globe on the top of the building?
Yes. The globe was in the building in the DCU, but it's just
on the ground.
it was in the lobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, why? Put on the top.
What a waste. Yeah, fix that, James.
Yeah, James is gonna bring the same. James is gonna be the same energy he brought into Scooby-Doo 2. I've been saying it for a while. That movie brought in there's been all these talks about how it's gonna have multiple big Superman villains. Scooby-Doo 2 had 50 original Scooby-Doo villains? He can handle it.
Yeah. I'm glad that
We'll mark it.
Scooby-Doo 2 fantasy.
No, look, I for all my opinions about things and makes reservations, because I've said one of the things I say in the Flash podcast you haven't heard yet is like the DC movies are on probation. Okay, like especially since James has said that. Thank you for that, Isaiah. This is a great.
You're
I love
welcome.
it that we have this to really lean into the rest of our conversation.
There you go.
But it's like the Flash, the greatest movie I've seen this year, probably the best superhero movie of all time, and I'm like, come on. Like that's not so. So that concerns me about these movies moving forward. And he didn't have to say that. He could have just. And I've said this before many times. I'll say it here, and then we'll move on from it. But yeah, I'm excited for this new Superman movie. It's ridiculous how long we have to wait between these Superman movies. Like 1987, I was born, and then by sophomore year of college, we got Superman Returns, and then whatever 2013 is, like where was I in life? I don't even know. But we got Man of Steel, and there hasn't been a Superman movie since. What's that, Lance?
You're working at a TV station.
I was working at. Thank you. I was working at a TV station, just a building.
Yeah, just a building.
No Art Deco involved, but
No.
There was a helipad on the roof, though. It was really so. Yeah, so great, right? In the Superman movie, but we'll see. I think if nothing else, is gonna have a kick-ass soundtrack, right? James gonna knows how to drop a needle.
Agreed.
So on whether if Starman is going to be used as part of the soundtrack.
I think I saw James say on social media that he was not going to use Starman because so many people had done suggested it.
They've taken his idea because he probably had that, and then people started doing it.
Why would he not use Starman in Guardians of the Galaxy movies? I guess he is a Starman. He's literally a Starman.
He's a Star Lord.
Well, it's Lord actually.
He likes to come and meet us, but it simply blew our mind. It's a great song. I love that remix in the Buzz Lightyear trailer. Like it's amazing. That's the great thing about these. There was some Pink Floyd song in the Flash trailer. So good. I forgot what it was. But that's a remix. The Buzz Lightyear thing, White Rabbit and the Matrix Resurrections. I'm like these for as much as for as lame as like these. This is the piano theme of the thing you like that's lame. I don't like that. But like the new remixes of old classics in these trailers, that they're great. So I would love to use for him to use Starman in the movie. But over on Lex Luthor being in the movie. What do you guys think? There's apparently being cast right now.
So it's not
over.
Michael's already announced it, hasn't he?
It's him.
It's not him, despite his best efforts.
It's like so sad when he like said it. Like, can I
he just wants an audition, okay?
Just give me a call. You have my number. You know, I played for 7 years. So
James is my best friend.
hey, Michael. You know when you could have played Lex Luthor seasons 8, 9, and 10 of Smallville. I'm just throwing that out there for you, buddy.
Or Crisis.
Didn't have a script, Joey. They call me up and they're like, I need to see a script.
No money, no nothing. Like
so good. I'm glad we're on the same page about certain things here. So it's not going to be Billy Zane. I guess we're never going to see him as like Billy Zane not playing Lex Luthor. I can't think of Lance. What is a more missed casting opportunity in the history of comic movies?
Jesse Eisenberg is Lex Luthor?
No, I mean that's a tangible. That's a sin of commission. I'm talking about a sin of omission. You understand?
I got you. I don't know. I'd have to think.
I feel like there's a lot of Neil Patrick Harris Riddler out there for a while.
That's a good one, Joey. I like that one. Yeah,
I remember that floating around in the Dark Knight trilogy. Oh, but no, the Riddler was in the Dark Knight trilogy. I forgot.
That's right. He is Mr. Reese. We all agree with that, right?
I thought it was like confirmed or something by Nolan, or is that just a super popular fan
I don't think Nolan confirms or denies anything about his movies.
I don't know. We should go ask Chris and then see what Chris has to say.
Actually, he prefers Christopher. Just so you know,
he would.
Do we even think Nolan even knows like the characters that he has in the movies?
Well, he invented Batman.
Yeah, that is true.
No, I think okay. So really though, that guy, redhead Matthew Broderick, is the Riddler in The Dark Knight. I guaranteed. Tiny Lester, Killer Croc, right?
Not the Debo.
Okay. You guys agree?
Yeah. Agree about the Riddler. Sure. I remember that one, and I remember that one. I thought was
he's the guy that throws the thing out the window.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do what you should have did.
Give it to me.
You don't know what it means to take a life.
Shut up, Smokey.
I will say every time my son has something in his hand that he shouldn't, I say it in that voice.
Oh man. I rewatched The Dark Knight recently after The Flash because I just had to like get back to my sanity. And that's a great film. So also in retrospect, I think I like The Dark Knight Rises better as well. We'll talk about that one day.
Really?
But, oh yeah. Oh,
I just rewatched that recently, and I was like, "This is better than I thought it was."
Right?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, at least it looked good.
It is true, yeah.
Chris Nolan, man, I judge you too harshly. So we want you back. Give him the keys to the kingdom again. So anyway, Superman Legacy. Yeah, it's not going to be the Skarsgårds. Talking about the Hemsworths and of the world. The Skarsgårds, both of them, the younger ones. There might be a third one. Yeah. Alexander and
Bill.
Yeah. You have a first name base with everybody.
I got connections, man. What can I say?
I mean, either one of them, I guess. I don't know. I'm never going to see Billy Zane as Lex Luthor. Because back in the day, like you talk about like a David Cornsweet, he was rumored and for fans wanted him for a long time, right? For Superman. Christian Bale as Batman is another one. And I think that people were like, oh yeah, you got to cast this guy, right? Hey, all real life things aside, in modern times, with Kevin Spacey, I think he was on the top of everybody's list for Lex Luthor for a long time. And they cast him as Superman Returns. It was like perfect. And he's a perfect casting. It just that
if he would have been Frank Underwood instead of
yeah,
exactly.
Was his Superman Returns portrayal of Lex Luthor is that he didn't play Lex Luthor. He did it, years later.
Yeah.
in House of Cards.
So we'll see. I don't really want to see Nicholas Hoult. I mean, he's been Beast for years. Let's just let him be Beast.
He's just too much of a wimp, in my opinion. Like anytime I see him, I'm like, that's just the nerd. Like I don't.
We just did that with Lex Luthor. We don't want to do that again.
We did, yeah. And I'm like, I want a guy who's like, a little bit like confident in himself, like.
Yeah, like Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin. Like no joke, y'all. Like that's like I love Daredevil movie. Even because there are people talking about Daredevil now on Twitter because Elektra is going to be in Deadpool 3. And there's rumors that Daredevil is. I'm talking about Jennifer Garner Elektra and then Ben Affleck Daredevil. And so I'm like, yeah, people are like reassessing, Daredevil. I'm like, I've always liked it. And like Michael Clark Duncan, like that kind of characterization is like it's perfect for like they would be great as Lex Luthor, right? If, pour one out for Michael Clark Duncan. Went before his time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I want to see a badass, like confident, capable businessman, like physical threat. Not that Lex Luthor needs to be going like kicking ass all the time, right? But like just not a little like a stick of a man, like Eisenberg.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody does push-ups in prison.
Exactly. I would see.
Great reference.
Guy who sits on another person. Reading the paper.
Chair.
Put my own hair. What? Oh, so have we all seen Superman Lois?
Indeed.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We know what we're talking about here. Lex on that. Thoughts? Isaiah, what do you think?
Well, I really liked Michael Cudlitz from Walking Dead. So I was kind of already predisposed to enjoying him. I have some problems with just the overall show of Superman and Lois, especially in season 3. But I didn't have any problems with that iteration of Lex. It was interesting because I'm like, what are they trying to do? And I don't know why, to step on a mini soapbox for a second, why everyone feels the need to like make Lex this like hairy guy, and then he loses his, like he shaves or loses his hair in prison, or whatever. And that's how we get the comic book Lex Luthor, rather than like, you can just make him bald from the beginning. Like, that's not a problem. I don't know why you feel the need to make that the element of character development or evidence of character evolution.
Well, at least
other than that, it was cool.
At least in this show, they did it when we met him rather than at the end. Like we met him, they did a quick montage, they shaved his head rather than the end of the movie.
Then the end of it.
That's been,
I suppose, but like
that goes back to Superman the movie almost. Like
the thing is,
those are different times though. But I see your point. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, Hollywood likes a shaving scene. Like that's what they like, right? Like,
yeah.
Tons of evidence for this, right? Everybody steals each other's plays. Everything is formulaic, even in Hollywood, and especially in Hollywood. So that's what it is. It's a trope that, and it's something that people run back to the well for all of the time. And with this particular character, they want it's a sense of drama attached to the getting rid of Lex Luthor's hair, and so they want to make some sort of statement with it, and that's the reason why they do it. It's more of a not a technical reason, but just more of a pragmatical, thing.
Yeah, like meta story reason. I respect that, but I still don't like it.
Yeah, it's kind of like Lionel Luthor in Smallville when they did.
Yeah, exactly. Again,
Smallville is the blueprint, Kasey. Absolutely.
I would even say it maybe had more weight in Smallville.
1,000%.
Oh yeah,
because it wasn't Lex Luthor anyway. Remember those? I don't know if those were real fan theories. Back then, they're like, "Hey, Lionel's going to become Lex. Like, he's going to switch brains and all." It's like,
oh man,
I'm like, that would be dumb. That would be like Lionel becoming Lex, right? Switching that and erasing Lex's, story from Smallville would be dumb. That would be like giving him amnesia in the series finale. That'd be the dumbest thing ever. It would just undercut his entire journey.
I'm glad they didn't do that.
I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yeah.
So Kasey, are you caught up? And I'm going to get back to you on Isaiah on a couple things with Superman Lois. But Kasey, are you caught up on Superman Lois?
I'm not.
Okay.
I have to watch season 3 because I just binge it all.
Okay, well, that's good.
But I have seen scenes with the new Lex.
What'd you think of him?
I liked his scenes I saw a scene with him on the porch with Clark and Lois, and
words can fix this.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, I like him. Like in that scene, I was like, okay, like the tone and everything, the way he's speaking and everything, I like him. I was just like, but like, what's up with the beard? I hate the beards on these Lexes, like the one on Titans too. I'm like, why are they doing this? But I mean, he seemed fine.
But like, who in real life do you know has no hair on their head and no hair on his face? Do you know anyone ever?
Me in about 2015. It wasn't a good look.
Oh, dude!
Wow.
My brother's bald and has a beard, so I guess
Well, no, I say that because it's like, I don't know, like Jeff Bezos, Michael Jordan,
Kobe.
Michael always
for a
had
second.
And
Kobe.
Kobe had a
I thought there were a couple of years when he went like completely shaved.
I thought he just had a tight
bald.
fade on the top.
Toby on This Is Us.
There it is. Thank you.
Because in 2015, when I looked like that, people would tell me I looked like Toby.
I don't understand. No, I agree with you guys. I don't understand the aversion to like this iconic look. Mr. Clean. I mean, that's an iconic character. Why is the aversion to letting the guy look like he does in the comic books? But what about you, Joy? What do you think of Michael Cudlitz as Lex?
Yeah, I've never seen a Lex like this. So it's like he's not a businessman kind of on top of the world. He's not hiding down in a train station. It's just an interesting new thing, and
I kind of was hiding out on a train station though.
That's true. yeah. I wonder if that was a reference on purpose.
Everything on the show is a reference. I think everything is intentional in some way, but
I really enjoyed it, and I loved that they used. I was getting annoyed throughout the season, like, okay, they made a big deal that they cast him. Where is he? What's happening? And then, but I'm glad that they used it to set this up. And I'm really curious if like the writers almost strong-armed the CW on the way the season was put. I don't know. I don't know how any of these things work in real life, but it seemed like it was up in the air for so long. I feel like, I mean, what Stephen Amell used to post his we got renewed post on like the second episode. Like I feel like those were always early, and I feel like this one was hanging in a while. And seeing how the season ended, they definitely made sure that they got their fourth season.
That would have been something if they didn't.
Yeah.
And they're not yet advertising fourth and final. I feel like the CW usually owns their final seasons.
They'll do that when it comes closer to time for it to be. But right now, that's not happening for a while.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it did make me wonder. I'm like, what is? I always joke about this. Like, what has the Superman been doing for like 20 years? Like, he's never fought Doomsday. Clearly, never fought Bizarro. Okay, Lex Luthor's been in jail for a crime he didn't commit for the last 17 years. Then I mean, and so that's just this Superman. The Superman Supergirl did nothing at all. Like he never even encountered red kryptonite. You know, like it's just like, what do you? There's some strange white copy of me. There's Kryptonians coming. Oh my God, this is unprecedented. Like, what were you doing for 15 years, man? So this at least answers some of those questions. I guess I was really hoping for a flashback of him in the Fleischer suit again, like when he first encountered Lex Luthor. But I guess Lex Luthor was just an upstanding businessman who never did anything wrong until Lois and Clark got a hold of him, put him in jail for a crime he didn't commit. So,
this is so. Where's the adversary there with them then?
Yeah, what's he been doing? I mean, like he literally.
I mean, Superman's been like saving bridges and like, you know, saving like landscapes from being like hit by like an avalanche or something. You know, that's all he does.
Well, he knew exactly how to handle that tornado, so he's got the natural disaster thing down.
I think that's all he's done.
Yeah,
and then much, he just stops like some like muggers or.
You guys are right. Superman sucks as character. All he does is save cats from trees now.
Yeah,
he was being a father. Okay, he was being a present father.
Apparently not. Apparently wasn't. That's what it is.
To say it for the first 15 years. Not really.
A liar. He's a liar.
Just keep him so busy.
Let's circle back to that stuff because I think I want to talk to Isaiah about his criticisms. But Lance, what in a nutshell, what do you think of the new Lex?
All right. I mean, we talked about it. It's Sons of Anarchy. Like that was the first thing that came to mind when I saw
both of us independently. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see more of him. But
he's a regular in season 4. So
can't wait to see more of him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I can't wait to see more of his face. Hopefully, they'll shave his ridiculous prison beard off. But anyway,
they won't.
Well, so Isaiah, what are some of your criticisms though of season 3?
So I think my problems come with both just the story architecture that Superman and Lois employs, as well as the specific overarching storyline for season 3.
So architecture, are you talking about like villain twists and stuff? Is what you're talking about? Because they always seem to do that same thing.
Not necessarily villain twists, but just in terms of like far too often I see like manufactured conflict where there either really shouldn't be any, or these characters are intentionally through the writers like acting illogically, where like human beings would not act this way normally. Or like, in other words, like in the writer's room, they would be like, okay, well, we want, conflict between Jordan and Sarah because they broke up, super original. How do we get to that point? Well, we got to have a couple of conversations where we create some like rift between them. And so I guess whether it be through the editing or writing or whatever, we get like one scene with an echo of a potential conflict, and then somehow we spiral to, Mom, I'm just like, Jordan is the worst. Like this guy is, and I'm like, yo, Sarah is tripping right now.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, well, I feel like everybody's pretty normal except Sarah. And
yeah.
Well, I mean, it was between that. There were. I
agree with you about that specific thing for sure. I mean, of all the things you're talking about, they added like manufactured conflict, because I felt like the show was pretty good about that for all 3 seasons, really. Like I felt like, I mean, especially compared to Smallville, people acting like responding to things like they normally should. But I thought they did like invent this whole like, oh, he's whole full of himself and all this.
Thank you. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Thank you, Zach. Like, yo, it was I hated it.
Yeah.
Like
with
Sarah.
What do you got, Lance? Yeah.
The thing with Sarah and like, some of her stuff. Yeah. Like some of that stuff is kind of weird. It's like, yeah, you're kind of tripping, but in defense of her and in defense of Jordan, I asked the people on this panel, when is the last time that you had any interactions with a person that age?
That's a very good point. See,
my
Jordan
nephew's that age.
Okay, that's cool. So,
and
are they ridiculous?
Yes.
He's not, but definitely his girlfriend. I could see it. Yeah. So.
I see and have to work with and teach these people every day. And so some of that stuff is not that far-fetched. Some of that is as real as it gets.
I can totally accept that. Even if they
even
took
if it doesn't
the time to show that, though.
And especially if it doesn't make sense. That's when it's the most real. Trust me.
Fair enough.
It's the real life equivalent of a wizard did it. It's a teenager did it.
As much as you think they're so mature, this out of the blue they can do something crazy, and you're just
that's what it's like.
No, it's fair. That's fair. But even to use your example, Zach, of talking about, so they want to introduce a storyline of Jordan is now not being a hero just for being a hero's sake, but for, the fame and glory, right? Okay, cool. So the writer's like, how do we get to that end point of showing the audience Jordan is like that? And then what we see is one scene where he's approached about a potential teenager in Smallville. Don't even get me started on how they make such logical leaps to that. But right, he's approached one time about a teenager in Smallville with superpowers. And he says one offhand comment of whoever he is, it's a pretty badass hero. And then all of a sudden, the next scene with Sarah and her mom, we see her talking about, I've spent all this time protecting Jordan's secret, but it's like he doesn't care about his for himself. I'm like, yo, what are we talking about right now? It's stuff like that.
I agree. No, but I feel like that. I do feel like that's the outliner, right, of how they usually write the characters. But that's what got to me quite a bit, because there was no setup for it. You had a whole season to set this stuff up, and they just the last 2 episodes they seem let's throw in some conflict here at the end.
Right. And then how did you all feel about the cancer storyline with Lois? Because, okay, I'll take that pause to continue.
Hold on. Hey, Kasey, have you seen any of season 3?
I've not. So I'm just it's okay. It's okay. I don't know the context, so that's fine with me.
Okay,
Joy, what did you think of the cancer storyline then?
Yeah, well, listening along to you and Sarah, I would say that the biggest thing that I was joining with you on was this better not be magic. Oh, the ship cured me or something like that. So I was really glad,
I laughed because that's what Smallville did many times. So.
But overall, I thought they handled it with grace, and I think they brought attention to a lot of things that just aren't going to be on TV shows. Just they normalize the uncomfortable things in life that happen, and I appreciated that.
I can agree with that. I think maybe part of the problem is, and also expose myself, I haven't listened to y'all's coverage of the season so far.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah,
I'm gonna binge it.
It's like.
But
I was to be honest, as I'm sure you heard on the podcast, I mentioned this, Isaiah, but you were too busy talking to John or Zach and
Zach, Christopher, all those. But to be honest, I part of my thing is, and I'm very okay being wrong, or maybe my opinion not being the most popular. I think there maybe really should have been an element of not Deus Ex Machina per se, but the reality is, we live in this world where a Kryptonian for the last 20 years has been building himself up, building his technology on Earth for a very, very long time. And there are just a lot of things that average humans and average human families experience that, frankly, Superman and his family, I feel, don't necessarily have to experience. Now, on a minutia, scene to scene, moment to moment interaction, I can appreciate, and I actually really liked a lot of the interactions between whether it be Lois and Pia, or Lois and Clark, or Lois and her family and friends and that kind of thing. I respect that. And I can recognize that it was made with the solid like intention that it was due. But on a macro and maybe more meta level, I really just couldn't get the past the fact that like, yo, you have a fortress right now with who knows how, with like what, like 12th level intellect technology and knowledge from across the galaxy at the tips of your fingers. You have two people who have jumped across dimensions, who are supposedly like some of the most intelligent engineers and builders like on the planet. You yourself have powers where your laser vision can be controlled at like a microscopic level or something like that. And you want to tell me that you can't join in conjunction with a surgeon or a medical team with the DOD and work on like a groundbreaking surgery procedure, medical procedure for your wife? Like that I couldn't suspend my disbelief enough to not get past that. And that's why I had a problem with season 3.
Interesting.
I think, no, I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, two thoughts on that. I think one, the first point in that is there are certain jobs that are not for Superman, right? And
I do, yeah.
And in this particular case, yeah, it would be to save his wife, but Superman, if he did that for his wife, would likely be inclined to be like, well, we did this for you, we have to do this for everybody.
Which they mentioned on the show, to its credit.
He cannot be that, like, he couldn't. I can't see him being selfish to only save Lois with this, with something like with the Deus Ex Machina type of thing to get rid of it, or using his powers to do so. And not offering it to the rest of the world, like him offering himself and his abilities and his time and his talents to help when he can is what makes him Superman. I think withholding that from everybody else would not be in character, and I would call into question his character if that were the case.
Go ahead. Sorry.
And then the second point, I think it would undercut the whole point of giving Lois cancer in the first place if they were just going to, like, because the drama of it, right, like just the writing and the character motivations and the character growth of it all would be undercut if she goes through everything and then just gets it worked out like that. I think that would be a discredit to her as a character, and then it also would be a discredit to people around the world who are watching this, who have cancer and found something in watching this from the show, because somebody as famous as Lois Lane got affected by this, and like in the drama around everything was seeing how she responded, how Superman responded, to be somebody with all the power in the world but can't save, couldn't do anything with this, similar to how like in the movies, like when he lost a parent, he had all the power in the world but couldn't save them. This is the same type of deal, and so it would be doing a discredit and a disservice to those people who actually are living with who live with cancer, to just have it be zapped away by some Kryptonian science and magic. And personally, the season was very personal for me, because like I've had to witness this for the past couple of years, dealing with this very specific issue in my family. So and them watching it appreciated how real this was in the show, and they appreciated how Lois was not just magically cured, and how Lois went through chemo, went through a double mastectomy, was going through and then also finding the strength to move on, to go back to work, to get back to normal, to beat this thing. And I think that was the point of all of this.
I respect that. I received that. And I think, to address both of your points, I think maybe that just comes down to what stories do we tell in certain mediums? Because, again, I really do receive that in terms of like watching as a family member withers away from cancer, because I've also experienced that, and seeing that in a show or a genre that you otherwise may not have seen before is a very interesting take. But I guess that again falls under the I guess it would be a real discussion of like, what stories are we able to tell with certain characters due to just the very nature of the character being supernatural or more than just human. And then to address like that specific first point of like it, I'm paraphrasing, but let me know if you feel I'm being dishonest in my paraphrasing. Essentially, like if dishonest is a weird word, but stay with me.
Yeah, I get it.
If Superman does this for his wife, like what's the moral argument for why he shouldn't do that for the rest of the world? I don't think it's a slippery slope fallacy to then just expand that same logical argument to say, well, if Superman saves people from 9 to 5 or saves people on occasion throughout the day when he hears a massive emergency, then why shouldn't he then do that as a full-time job? Kind of there was echoes of that in Smallville where like it was after Zod took over in like season 5, I think start of season 6.
Yeah, he's rebuilding everything.
Yeah. And like going out all the time and 24/7 and that kind of thing. And for the record, I'm not someone who thinks that Superman that's not a full-time job, just from both mental health reasons and the fact that he's not God. He's not omnipresent and all that kind of stuff. But I do think that to say, well, if Lois could receive that special care, but the rest of the world doesn't, well, it's like, I don't think it's a giant leap to say, well, if Superman stops an emergency crisis in Korea, why doesn't he free, Kondak from military, thing, in terms of like from Black Adam? Or why doesn't he go to another third world country and bring them shipping containers of food or gallons upon gallons of clean drinking water and stuff like that? That's kind of what I was thinking.
Gotcha. Okay, so I guess my answer to that would be it's a two-part. So him going and saving Lois, let's say he does that with Kryptonian magic, right? Mm-hmm. It's different from saving people from like a landslide in another country or a volcano or something like that, because it's a personal connection, and then people would naturally start asking questions, and then in this universe they want to keep their family safe and under the radar. They don't want people to know. So like the natural question would be like, well, why did Lois Lane get this special treatment from Superman? Yeah, she's interviewed him, but this kind of goes above and beyond. So what else is going on? And then the legal and ethical question of like, well, if we open up this up to the world, who gets it? And is the DOD going to be involved? Is only America going to get it first? And then it just kind of, it's a snowballing type of effect.
Yeah.
Like, why doesn't he like just go into foreign countries and stop whomever? He historically does not ever want to do that, because that is the road that leads towards dictatorial tendencies. Something's been talked about in comics. You mentioned some specific things of like, why doesn't he deliver food to other nations, and why doesn't he deliver water to places that need it? Have you read Superman Peace on Earth?
I have.
So, well, like he's tried that, and in that story, they go out of the way to show you it's hard to do that with and act unilaterally, even though like he's given his talents to the world, and he tried to do all of those things, but. Mm-hmm. But he was stopped by, in a lot of sense, he was stopped by humanity itself, right? Because
right.
So, and that's just the thing. Like, we humans are a lot of things, and one of them is complicated. And so this would be an incredibly even more complicated issue, and like the webs of it would just continue to kind of branch off and branch if this one personal decision was made. And I think it would that's one of the reasons why he doesn't do it, because everything about himself, as you mentioned, would unravel. You mentioned that he's not omnipresent, he's not a god, right? He's a dude just trying to do all he can, and that's why frankly, that's also why he doesn't do it, right? Because he is just one person. So some of your answers were like, you said your answer, but I get your questions.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's not that I actually disagree with what you're saying or anything like that. I just think that because it opens up said questions, even if they have been answered, so to speak, I think just the very nature of the discussion itself is why I couldn't get immediately on board with no discussion.
Fair. Have you read Superman in Philosophy, by the way?
I have not.
That's good.
Do I have that? Did you give me that? Do I have that book? It's probably over there. No. I think this is great though. I'm glad that they introduced it just to have open up these kind of conversations anyway. Because we've seen so many if you have a TV show, you can delve into stuff further and deeper than you can like in a movie, right? So like when you have that, you can really explore the characters, the process. Like, had they introduced this in like a movie, for example, like I don't think you could, unless it's over the course of a trilogy or something, which I don't think you want to do. You can't get into the nuance of it all and all that sort of thing. But this was, this was a heavy thing, and it took me a second to kind of like, as you'll learn when you listen to the podcast from season 3 of Always on Superman Lois, Isaiah. It took me a while to kind of get on board with them. Like, okay, y'all, like you better handle this correctly. But they did. They stuck the landing, I feel, and they handled it with proper care. But it does introduce you to think about this kind of stuff. And the show, to its credit, I think addresses that stuff enough on the fringes of it. And that's not the story they're telling. They're telling like they don't want to, like, you could tell a whole story, zoom out, do all that stuff. And like Lance said, Superman, Peace on Earth is a great one by did Alex Ross write and draw that?
Paul Dini.
Paul Dini, that's right. Alex Ross drew it. Paul Dini wrote it. Paul Dini, DCAU. There you go. But well, that was a great conversation there. So look forward to that in season 3, Kasey. For
well, I like this conversation because also I think also like they don't do that a lot in the Superman comic books, because you have conversations like these and it can be done very poorly in the comics if they ever try it, because there's a lot of questful writers out there who have no idea what the heck they're doing. So.
Correct.
Superman Lois, everything on the whole, then we're all liking it. Well, despite I'd say it's like,
I love it.
Yeah, I enjoy it quite a bit. I mean, I'm probably biased because I get to watch it with my wife and do this podcast. It's fantastic. And at this phase of my life, it's like the perfect kind of show for me at this point. Like, Smallville's great. It was growing up and all this stuff, and I'm like married now and stuff. Like, this is a good Superman show to like watch and try to base my life off of.
I always say, so squint your eyes a little bit, and it's just the Smallville sequel. I'll be always.
It totally is. Like it really is like a sequel to Smallville, like told through like Man of Steel lens. As far as the visual.
I say Miss Beppo is Chloe Sullivan.
Totally, Chloe.
1,000%.
100%.
Like, does anyone have any question if real world things hadn't happened that character would be called Chloe Sullivan?
Totally would. She totally,
yeah,
and totally would have been played by Allison Mack.
No, they would have done that. No.
They could have. That could have been the one stunt casting that they did. That could have been the one thing that they did.
I don't know. I think you need a clean break. You like James over there trying to keep the Suicide Squad.
The show
half in, half out.
In motion pre-James, before James.
Yeah. No, but the show has convinced me that Lois and Chloe should not have been cousins. By the way, like this. Did anybody like that on Smallville? Like Kasey, we talked a lot about stuff that you couldn't chime in on. So let me ask you. Yeah. Them being cousins. What do you think?
I started Smallville in season 8. So
you love Lois on the show. Like, it's perfect. Like,
I love Lois. I was, every time we talk about it, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I love Lois. But I didn't mind it. Smallville was kind of my first like big introduction to Superman. So
you just thought, oh yeah, she has this cousin Chloe Sullivan. That's great.
I was just like, sure, Chloe Sullivan's the thing. She's a cousin of Lois. Yeah, totally understand.
I can't wait to go read more comic books about this.
Oh man, the Chloe introduction in the comics is bad. But
that was like handful of issues. Or just one
issues, and then it was like a couple, and then she's out.
Yeah,
it was. But I like Chloe and I like Lois, so I just didn't have a problem with it. The melodrama between what Chloe was in like season 2 and 3 and that was a little like, and like a little bit in 4. But once she like came into her stride, I was like okay with it. Like
once she really became Lois around season 5, I really liked. Well, that's the thing. Thinking about it, you zoom back, you think watching it in our chronological order. You see Chloe like on the Lois Lane journey, and they bring in Lois, and and I like them both. But I'm just saying, like, them being cousins was weird, and I don't know. I kind of like seeing people who just happen to meet in the real world and become friends, and that relationship a little more organic.
It
like, oh yeah,
convenient. Yeah,
right.
It is convenient. Yeah,
exactly. So I don't know. Do you guys any other thoughts on Chloe and Lois being cousins?
Yeah, I didn't watch Smallville at a time when I had enough DC knowledge to have like opinions like that for myself. So it was just something that I accepted. And then when I started watching other Superman content, I was like, oh, like I don't see a Chloe at all in some versions. So by that point, it's just I just know it as a thing that Smallville did.
Yeah, same.
Well, when they reboot Smallville, they'll just make Chloe Lois. That's what they'll do. Check out our latest mailbag if you haven't heard that yet for some fun comments we've gotten on Reddit about that. But anyway, for me, Superman Lois, I'm like, I don't know, like it's very different than Smallville, right? It's a whole, I mean, they're what, 13, 15 episode seasons, give or take. And the release schedule is very odd and sporadic, and they come out weird times of year, and there's no logical flow to it. You got a Valentine's Day dance on some episode that came out in June or something, you know. So
Smallville fashion, you know.
Yeah, three seasons in, they're 2 years into high school.
What?
I like, if I had to I give it overall, I can't even rank, you know how we are as fans, we love ranking stuff. Like I couldn't even rank the seasons. I'm like, I don't know, I give the whole show like a B+, you know.
Yeah, with these I just rank the whole show. I can't do seasons.
The one, to me, still the one standout episode is the flashback episode in season 1 with the origin, because that was such a fresh kind of take on Lois and Clark and the relationship and how she loves Clark first before Superman, which I'm like,
that's actually got to see the work dynamic, which was nice.
Yeah, and they didn't just work in some building, did they, Kasey?
Yeah, I mean, like that building was at least. You had a little, you know, I don't know. It was a building, but it was fine. At least the dynamic in the building was good.
Yeah, no, that's really, I would love for that to be that dynamic, like the Lois and Clark and Superman thing, to be what they use in Superman Legacy. Like where Lois is like, who's this? This guy's not even, he's taken away from real news. I'm like, that's such a fresh take that I really enjoyed for Lois. So I think they should do something like that.
Superman Returns, she wanted to cover the blackout.
Well, that's because she was mad at Superman. Let's
Superman, the baby daddy Superman.
Yeah, we'll see. Like, I don't know how long they can keep up the secret identity. It's probably good. Again, wrapping back around, we're talking about what's the Superman been doing. You look at the timeline, right? So like, he came back and was Friday Night Lights in the theater. So that was like 2004, and then we realized like Lex Luthor was like in 2006 or something. So like basically Clark got to Metropolis, started dating Lois, married her like immediately, and they had kids like immediately. So I guess that's good though, because there's no way this Superman could keep up that dual identity thing very long. Like, there's no way.
Yeah,
it's just, he did such a better job of it on Supergirl. He was like, oh, look at he split, right? All that stuff is great. And now it's like, hello, I am Clark Kent. I'm not Superman. It's like, the hell you aren't.
He tripped and dropped those coolers.
That was funny.
That was the most Clark Kent thing he's done on the show, waddling around with the.
And that was in like what?
This show
3 of season 1.
If I don't know, I couldn't even rank them. Like, could you, like the seasons? You know, I love to rank stuff. I just can't, like. There's pros and cons to all of them. Like, I'll say this: I think Bruno Mannheim's the best villain.
Yeah. This is. I feel like the show has gotten better every season. That's my personal choice.
Is the Bruno Mannheim better than the Bruno Mannheim we got on Smallville?
That's not even a fair question.
I was about to say.
That's like asking. I can't even think of an analogy right now. That's like asking is.
It's like asking is Arrow Deathstroke better than Smallville Deathstroke?
Perfect.
I was about to say, just to tie it back into this conversation, Batman Forever Riddler for Dark Knight Riddler.
Well, I don't know. There's a debate to be had there. I gotta get into that.
My boyfriend hates the Batman Riddler. He thinks he's ridiculous and stupid.
Wait, from the Batman? From this new one?
From the Batman. He thinks he's ridiculous and dumb. I'm like, I love him. What are you talking about?
There's something to be said for like, that's not really the Riddler. You know, like I like almost like the Dark Knight redhead Matthew Broderick. It was more like the Riddler than this. But I think up until the Riddler like raising up. Now I love the Batman, and it's like, is it my favorite live action Batman movie? Yeah, I rewatched the Dark Knight. Now that is again, but like him rising up a group of internet people. I mean, that's very prescient, right, in the world today. But is that the Riddler? I mean, Batman fighting a bunch of dudes with sniper rifles in a stadium. Like, is that him versus the Riddler? I don't know.
It's very topical.
It is.
It was a better reimagining than Jesse Eisenberg.
Well, yes.
Like it was
But don't you like the Jolly Rancher in the mouth?
No, it's cherry.
It's cherry.
It's cherry.
Oh no! The Bruno Mannheim on Smallville is awful. Like, it's just awful. Like, it's like somebody was. I get what they were saying. They're like, somebody just watched Scarface. I'm like, can we find somebody that looks like a young Al Pacino? Can he act? I don't care. Just whoever. Just let's cast the guy. It was nothing, and they just threw him away. Like, it was insane to me that they take. And you're in season 8 of Smallville, and you're like, okay, you're in the Metropolis years now. Let's I know we kind of Morgan Edge and Intergang was, we kind of fumbled that. Didn't fumble it, but like you used it too early, and now you can't do it again, and whatever. but you go to Bruno Mannheim and then you just throw him away as like some one-off villain. It was terrible and a
don't bring
terrible
him
plot.
back in season 10.
But I don't want to see that guy back. The guy was terrible.
Well, I know, but like the character, you know, with what he does.
He got plastic surgery just like Morgan Edge.
Oh,
No, it's different.
I'm hoping.
It's a different guy. No, I mean Chad Coleman. I mean, he's fantastic. He's fantastic on Arrow and all the other shows that he's in. Is a great genre actor, and he was great. And I think the whole family thing was a big thing for them. And in season 3, I don't want to spoil too much, so we'll stop there, Kasey. But
okay, thanks.
I think for those reasons alone, maybe. But you know, the thing is, I mean, I really like. Tal Rowe so good in season 2, right? I didn't really season 1. I was like, well, Morgan Edge is his brother now. What the hell is this? Like, I didn't like that twist, but like the relationship they developed in season 2 was really good. And then, of course, season 1 is where it all starts. So I don't know. It's hard to say. What you gonna say, Lance?
I like Uncle Tal.
Uncle Tal. I hope he comes back in season 4, at least for
I was
one
about
episode.
to say he's really just on that new Bizarro world, and that's it. That's it for the character.
Maybe he married Lana over there. I don't know. At least he has an ending. Unlike Sam Lane's not going to get an ending. Am I right? No spoilers, Kasey, but sorry.
Well, I just assumed because I thought you were just talking about like they're not going to have him back as a main character.
He's not. He's not coming back for season. He's pulling a Rosenbaum. He's not coming back for the next season. That's what I understand.
I didn't realize he wasn't showing up at all. I thought,
according to his wife on Instagram, like this, he's not coming back. We'll see. I hope they bring him back for at least one episode to wrap up his character. But all his cast changes in season 4. Like there are no main cast members anymore except for Lois, Clark, Jonathan Jordan, and Lex. Which I'm like, sounds good to me. It's
kind of fun, yeah.
But still, like I like Kyle Cushing, and I like doing the Kyle Cushing voice. Lana, you lied to me. How long you know you have powers? I don't trust you.
Did they ever explain why they didn't tell Kyle but told everyone else in the family?
For manufactured drama, Isaiah, we went over this. We already talked about.
Well, they were divorced by that point. They were divorced.
That's true.
Drunk. He's a
That's true. I'll tell you this. This isn't a spoiler, Kasey. It kind of is, but it's fine.
No,
is it okay? Honestly, for all we're not gonna spoil some major things. So the last thing I'm saying is like my favorite part of the finale of Superman and Lois season 3, Lana and John Henry getting together.
Oh, that was like the worst.
That's not a spoiler because that was. Hold on. Ooh, that's good.
They should have played some Imagine Dragons there.
It needed a needle drop. That was good. Now, and then I saw someone on the the internet somewhere saying like in the comics that's happened.
Yes. Yeah. They get together and then at least in the New 52, and then like
I love that
they like are together, and that's how like I got introduced to like John Henry Irons a lot, was like that, and I was like, I like them together, like it just makes sense
in this universe, right? Since Chloe is really in Smallville, Chloe being the Green Arrow, that's like Lana getting with Steel in this universe. I support it 100%. Because there's no other, you kids are lucky your dad's here. There's no other heroes on this earth. So other than Steel. So he should have got a cape though this season.
And next season.
Does he have an S on his chest?
Oh, he's not there next season.
He does not.
I think that everyone is going to be back for like maybe 2 or 3 episodes each. All the other characters.
Okay.
But no, I mean, I thought like he would get after the finale. Maybe he'll have an S and a cape. Anyway, we'll move him on.
This season did give one of the best moments, like a top 5 Clark Kent moment of all time at the diner.
The diner. Ooh.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So absolutely. I love that.
This isn't a job for Superman. He's not going.
That was cool.
It was cool. It was badass. Although it's not as effective when Clark acts that way all the time anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the thing about Superman 2 was he's like, oh, excuse me, sir, I'm gonna kick your ass. Like that's fun. Like instead of like badass, dad Clark Kent coming in here. You know what I'm saying?
But almost that's a even I'd say as a part of that your cover there, like you can't be tripping over yourself when your wife and kids are in harm's way, Kyle even was surprised at that, that he saw that version of him.
I would also say in this universe though, does anybody even see Superman's face? Because he's always just like saving natural disasters anyway.
That's
just like flying away.
He does in season 2.
He does.
Wait,
and in season 1, like in the flashback episode.
He has a whole a whole like here's what happened, and he has a whole conversation with Lana who just can't recognize him
Yeah,
that's the thing, right? They want you to the thing of we'll wrap up here about Superman. I don't want to talk about it too long, but I always talk about this. So you see Christopher Reeve, he takes the glasses off, he becomes Superman, right? Tyler Hoechlin takes the glasses off, and it's just like one of us, like, oh look guys, look at the difference. He's like,
Where'd
hey, I'm
Whoa.
Superman.
Oh my God.
Zach, oh my gosh.
Have you ever seen a doppelganger of somebody you know really well out in public? And you're like, oh my God, you just stare at somebody like they look just like this person.
Yeah, like David Cornsweat. I was like, that looked just like Henry Cavill.
Like Isaiah said, I look like the guy from Secret
Like Gravik,
There it is.
yeah.
Gravik from Secret Invasion. So
That's the thing, and they've done this. They've done this before. They've done this before with Superman in the comics. You get like a shapeshifter, like a Martian Manhunter, or maybe I assume they did this with him at some point, or Matrix Supergirl or whatever. Like, hey, look, I am also Clark Kent, and they're like, oh, okay, and then that you have that, and then you don't, and the people are like, well, here's a picture of them two together. I can't, like you needed a show like this, like you need that, like big time to make people throw people off the set,
At least say like Batman like did it once. Like he.
That's true.
Yeah, be like he stood up as like Superman or whatever.
Well, unfortunately, Steel cannot pose as Clark Kent, so we need to find somebody else.
Race does not matter.
Well, race does not matter, but Superman and Clark are both white.
I know.
So, like, Lance could not pose as me. All right, yeah, we got this.
This is true.
Y'all look like twins to me. I don't know what
Yeah.
y'all talking about.
sure.
No, I really like, that's the other thing about the show. I really like how they've really fleshed out Steel as a character, and because he's been very underserved since his inception. Now, I like the Steel. Who's seen the Steel movie here, other than Lance and I? Okay, what do you think, Kasey?
It's
for what it is.
There's some interesting parts.
That's a very diplomatic way to say you don't like it. That's fine.
I don't like it. Yeah.
For what it is, I enjoy it because it's Shaquille O'Neal.
That is true. He does bring like a fun vibe to it,
and it's way more accurate to the comics than I ever thought it was going to be. I'm like, his name is John Henry Irons. He worked in the military. He does Steel stuff. I mean, like you look at something like, I don't know, what's a good example, Lance, of something that just completely changed.
Completely changed.
Like in another superhero movie,
Cassandra Cain in Birds of Prey.
There you go. 30 years later, they're making, worse adaptation. So for what it is, I enjoy it. But other than that, he's never seen in live action. I mean, he was great in DC AU, like everything is. But I mean, that's why is he not on Smallville? Why was Steel not on Smallville ever?
The answer to that question, Zach.
Anyway. Listen, Martian Manhunter was black.
I know that. But how often was he around?
Was Martian Manhunter and Cyborg ever in the same room together?
It did not pass the Blacktle test. Okay.
That's the real thing we should have been doing this whole time. The Blacktle test. Forget the Bechdel test.
He doesn't fit the description.
Smallville does not pass the Blacktle test once, I think. I can't do that now, and I can't add that show, but at least it'll be in conversation. It won't be an actual.
We had Cyborg talk to his black girlfriend. That was like it.
That must be the only one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Dr. Hamilton captures Pete.
Yo.
Yeah.
Whose ship is this? We found the two scenes. Really? No. What? Oh, doesn't Martian Manhunter interact with Amanda Waller at some point?
Oh, he does.
He impersonates her.
And then he's in the fire cage. Yeah. Yeah.
Pete and his mom have a scene together?
No, I don't think Pete and his mom ever have a scene together.
Pete and Jennifer didn't have a scene together?
Jennifer Sisko, you exist here.
No, I don't think they did that because I think if you put Pete next to his mom, they look too much like the same age.
Yeah. What the hell was that? Like this? He's like the fourth kid. I mean, come on. I know some people with certain skin colors age better than others.
What a way to say that, Zach.
I'll just say it, black don't crack.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Kasey.
I'm not gonna say if there's three other black guys here.
I love the voice crack too. It was just everything.
Thank you for saying it for me. Anyway, No, that's a black belt test. Oh man, you should be doing that on Arrow, Lance. You and Kev. That's. Oh, here you go. You do Black Lightning.
I was just about to say the Black Lightning and Diggle. That's one.
God, that was awesome. That was the best part of Crichton.
Oh man. I don't even know where we are anymore. But anyway, so everybody loves Superman. Steel. Yeah, Steel.
Yep.
I'm glad to see him. That is ridiculous that he wasn't on Smallville more. And just an easy character to do, like, hey, I worked for Luthor Corp and I built a super suit. And I'm joined Oliver's team.
Who do you think would have played him back in the day if they did on Smallville? That's a fun.
It's an easy answer. Michael B. Jordan. Hello. He was on Friday Night Lights at the same time.
I thought you were gonna say Bow Wow.
No, he's already been a character on Smallville. I'm sorry. And all right, Michael B. Jordan. The timing, the age is perfect. Unless you want to make him a little older, like a mentor character.
Like they would make him like a Lex age.
Okay,
but I don't know.
So Hawkman.
Oh, Alex Hodge?
Yeah. Who was also on Friday Night Lights. Oh man. Somebody like that.
That's where all your collective knowledge comes from.
Yeah. Trying to think, like, I don't know, somebody a little older. Agent Ellison from Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles. Boom.
Rick.
I don't know his name.
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
TV Avery Brooks, or TV Avery, not Star Trek Avery Brooks. TV Avery Brooks. No, I'm serious though. Have you ever seen Sarah Connor Chronicles?
DL from Heroes.
Oh, that's perfect too. Anyway, DL from Heroes was on Smallville, though, Lance. He was Namek.
That's right.
He was Namek, the character that kicked Superman's ass in Man of Steel, the 7-year-old Michael Keaton Batman held his own against. Pivot point. Let's talk about the Flash. Now, I've talked about it plenty. You've heard Lance. Okay, Lance was right. # Lance was right. All right. Lance, do you have anything else you want to say about the Flash, and then you turn over to these guys?
Not yet. No, I'm sure I'll have something to add later, but no.
Okay. Who wants to go first? This is Kasey, Joey, Isaiah. Yeah.
I went in thinking, all right, Zach, I was kind of along your lines of like, okay, yeah, Michael Keaton's in this. It's going to make a lot of money. People are going to show up. It is what it is, and everything good in that movie can be condensed down into a YouTube clip of a fun little thing to see. Good for people who want to make, fan trailers and fun. Like there are some fun moments. I'm gonna be honest. I don't enjoy the Flash eating spaghetti all the time, but I did enjoy the spaghetti analogy. I thought that was fun. I think that's it. Like every moment of Michael Keaton, that was fun. It was fun. It was fine. I really like Supergirl. I didn't like anything. Everything the Flash did that was good has been done better. I think that's it.
Yeah.
To the point, succinct. I agree.
Kasey, you got it.
I'm a huge Superman and Supergirl fan, and I really like the Flash as a character. So me going into this, I'm like, at least get Supergirl right, because like it's all I care about. And I bring it down to this. This movie is like, if you're not a Flash fan, you will not like this movie. You have no reason to like this movie.
Well, let me stop. Don't want to interrupt you, but if you are a Flash fan, you're not going to like this movie.
And if you're a Flash fan, you also don't like this movie. I think that I was what I was going to say. I was just like, there is two ways. Like, there's only one way of thinking this, and like, it is mind-boggling how they can just alienate everybody to not like the movie. I don't know what they were thinking with this. I say the movie is just like okay at best, like if you really are just going in, but like my boyfriend is not a Flash fan at all. He's like kind of newer into the superhero stuff and everything, and he came out of the movie, he's like, what the heck was that? He's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't like Michael Keaton. I don't know like that guy. Like he's just like, he loves Supergirl. So he's like, oh, I like seeing Supergirl. That was like his favorite character because he likes Smallville too. And then he's like, this Flash, like whatever. Like he's like, I'm not a Flash fan. Like he's like, I have no context for even who this guy is. Like there's no, like this. He's like, this should have been like a movie down the line rather than like his first movie. So it doesn't make any sense to me.
Kasey, let me ask this: you're saying you're looking forward to Supergirl, and did you not like Supergirl in the movie?
I think she was fine. I think she was serviceable for like what she needed to be. Like at least like I was just like when they were telling, like when she was going on about her origins and like what she was sent here to do and everything, I was like, yes, that's Supergirl. That's what she is. And then when she said her name, I'm like, thank God she's not just a gender bent Clark Kent or something, you know. So I was just like, thank you. That's cool. But it's all service level. So there's nothing else more.
If they could have done one thing, I feel like keeping, I mean, she had to carry the press tour and everything, but like keeping her a secret would have been great too, because like if you built that, like they were building that up, like we're gonna go get Clark, we're gonna find Clark, we've got him, and I'm like, if that would have been a really cool twist.
It would have been, if you think, because even the comic people would be like, oh, they're gonna go get Clark.
But that's what the
like
movie
skinny
setting
Henry
up for.
Cavill or somebody.
Yeah, they're gonna Chris Evans reverse Captain America to him. Yeah, that's what. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot of people like praising Sasha Calle and Supergirl in this, and she's good, she's fine, but she's barely in it. She's just not a factor. Like just the way, and we all know why it was marketed the way it was for all kinds of reasons, but it's like the way they're promoting her. It's like, oh, okay, but she's in literally what 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah,
it doesn't have an ending and it gets cut out. So like, yeah, she's fine, but I feel bad for her because people are like, oh yeah, they'll bring her back at the Supergirl World of Tomorrow. I'm like, they're not going to do that. They're not going to bring. She's not going to be. She's not the Supergirl. She's tied to the Henry Cavill.
Out. Yeah, well, that's why they cut her out at the end. Like she's not coming back.
Exactly. And it sucks for her. It does because she did some heavy lifting trying to promote this thing where they were, in an impossible situation. So yeah. Anyway, just picking up on what you said about Supergirl. So, but Isaiah, what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah. So let me just give a little preface. Isaiah's gonna step on. I thought it was the greatest movie ever.
Just like your friend James.
Where do you think he got it from? I had to convince him. But yeah, Isaiah's gonna step on, just a little soapbox for a second, not a large one, but just a little bit. There were two main takeaways I got from the movie. The first one was that this is a perfect example of great movies are not always the sum of their parts. And, don't hit me up talking about, I got that from a video essay on YouTube. Your boy did not. There's some real logic behind it. Just in terms of like, I really actually did like the cast. The story was obviously extremely interesting. A lot of the emotional beats, I saw the groundwork there that could have made it really compelling and stuff. But just all of it together did not make a great movie. And to borrow your phrase, Kasey, and something that I also came to, a lot of the movie was just very, very shallow and very, very surface level. I thought there were like Supergirl, she was cool, but to be honest, she wasn't really a character. And not even just because of her limited screen time, but just insofar as any real characterization, they didn't do anything real with it. I mean, and you had it there just in terms of you have this Kryptonian who for the last, I guess, like 20 years or something like that has been locked up, incarcerated, experimented on, potentially tortured by humanity and stuff like that. And then here comes the last few people of Krypton coming to Earth with the goal of essentially turning Earth into a new Krypton. And the difference between her and Clark being, obviously, Clark has had the 33 years of experience living as a human. She's had nothing but the terrible experiences of humanity. And they gave like her one line, towards that emotional conflict. But I really wish we could have gotten something more with her meeting the last few people of her people. And even the turning point in her character and why she switches sides, instead of it being, oh, Krypton wasn't a war planet. We weren't about war. I'm like, first of all, that's some BS. Okay. If we look at Man of Steel, Krypton was very much a concrete.
The head scientist was a badass dude with a gladiator costume.
He literally kicked the head general's asses. Like, so no, Krypton was 100% a war planet.
Your uncle was a badass.
Thank you. So you could have just made the turning point being that the moment where she learned that they killed baby Cal. And so instead of it being, oh, I'm just going to side with humanity, it's just instead of very personal conflict between her and Zod. And I don't think they really, fleshed that out.
I didn't even think of that, man. That's excellent. That's like if you're gonna jury rig this story and change stuff that shouldn't be changed, right? So that's perfect. If you're gonna turn Superman into Supergirl for this story purposes, she has the backstory where she's more prone to side with Kryptonians, right? So then, of course, she'd be on their side, and then you find out that he killed Zod or whoever it was, killed baby Kal-El. That would turn her against them and not make her more. It's more enemy of my enemy is my friend thing. Like, oh, I'll help you, Batman and Flash. By the way, something else you said, I didn't even all of my thinking and talking about this movie. I didn't realize this before. So, Supergirl, teenager, 20-ish, whatever, right? Crashes on Earth when Clark was supposed to, I assume. They keep her under this red sun for 20 years. Why is she still like 20 years old? Why isn't she like old? Right?
Well, do we think that she crashed, let's say 20 years ago, she was maybe like 12, 13, and then now she's like what? Like
my pod got stuck in the Phantom Zone. It's the
30. Is that what they're doing? No, but like do we think like she looks at least 30? So like
I don't know.
She does not. She looks a solid 25.
25.
She's pretty young.
This is 2013. Like it's exactly the same day as the movie goes out of its way to establish that Zod came the first time. Yeah. And you could say maybe Zod came earlier. No, because the movie goes out of its way to tell you that Barry was like, "Oh, this is the day I got my powers."
Unless Kara
came. Did they even explain why Zod was coming?
No, that's another thing, Joey. They no explanation in Man of Steel. The only reason why Zod came is because Kal activated the scout ship, which was as the Fortress of Solitude. But here there was no explanation for why Zod showed up.
Because how'd they intercept Kal-El's pod? But it took him this long to find Kara's.
It was the butterfly effect.
Spaghetti.
Because when you change the past, it changes the future and the past, right?
Now, to be fair though, the Flashpoint is like that as well. Like, why else would Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Batman all be different? I created a world with no metahumans. Now there's no Superman. Now Superman's an alien. It's not a metahuman. I hated that they kept using that line in all the trailers. That's a great point, Isaiah.
Thank you. And then, go ahead, Kasey.
I was gonna say I love that point about the Supergirl. Like when you were saying that, like that's awesome. Like I was like because also like she remembers Krypton, so maybe she like thought of like because she was a teenager, maybe she thought Zod was like a good general, like
like a war hero. Supposedly he was like a war hero.
So she's like, oh, I'll join my people because they're good and Kryptonians are good, and then like she figures it out. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Exactly. And I mean, even if you want to portray Zod as like he was morally ambiguous on Krypton, the reality is like if I'm one of the last humans ever, like in the universe, I would still get over a lot of like the hangups or moral quandaries that I would experience with 8 billion of us, as opposed to like 20 of us. So yeah, I thought they really had a real missed opportunity with Supergirl. Michael Keaton's Batman, to borrow a phrase I actually did take from YouTube, he was a perfect example of what people thought Toby and Andrew would be in No Way Home. In terms of he was really there just for, hey, you remember seeing Michael Keaton as Batman when you were as a little kid? Hey, we brought him back. He's Batman again. Isn't that cool? And it's like, yeah, I guess it's cool on a visual level, so to speak. But again, we didn't get any real characterization when we really could have. You know, he had the one-off statement about like Gotham being the safest like city in the world now, but I'm like, so that just turns you into a pseudo Luke Skywalker now in terms of
that's what didn't make sense, because like I think that's a very interesting idea which they didn't follow up on at all. But then like you think, why is he all like this? Like, oh, he's like this because victory has defeated you, right? You solve crime, you have no purpose in life. You're not Batman anymore, right? So then when you get offered this chance to be Batman again, he's like, nah, never mind. What?
Exactly.
The character arc makes no sense.
Exactly. And I mean, so I guess maybe I'll view it differently in terms of viewing it from a no purpose standpoint. But I'm like, I don't know if I view that those two things being equal in terms of there's no reason for you to be Batman anymore. And so therefore you've just become a hermit who doesn't take care of himself.
That's not A to B, but at least it would have been some explanation, which there is none of.
Okay. Yeah.
It's more like they wrote the script knowing the casting than the other way around.
Exactly.
Like
that's a great point.
You know, like a good cameo should be actor proof. You know, like and if you
gonna use it, you use that.
I gotta write it down. Yeah.
like I didn't take. Look, listen, I didn't take this from a YouTube video, but a good cameo.
Well, technically, it wasn't from a YouTube video.
I took it from my good friend Joseph.
Joseph.
So Joey, like Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian.
No, yes. If that would have been and yes, and any Jedi, or I'm sorry, I'm getting lost here.
Always on to Star Wars, everybody. Go share, like, and subscribe. I don't give you guys enough love, so.
But I was going to say more so, like at the end of the movie, none of those cameos. If you would have shown generic Smallville season 11 Superman, like the most generic Superman you can, instead of the Superman we got, why did we take 5 minutes away from the movie to see that? Like all of those different Earths, if you would not have been paying homage disrespectfully to any of these characters, the scene doesn't make sense.
Oh,
and to
it's
infuse
not a multiverse movie.
Yeah,
It's a time travel movie.
That's what they don't get. This is my concern from the beginning. I was like, you guys know Flashpoint's like a time thing. It's not like a multiverse thing, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
But who likes the cameos at the end?
No one is raising their hands. That's a negative.
But see, that's they sat there.
I'm sorry. I will say, I did like George Clooney. I thought that was fun. That was a fun moment.
That's a different category.
That's
I'm talking more the Speed Force thing.
I know. I know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, but
they just look bad. They all look bad.
Everything looked really bad, and then the director comes out and it's like, oh, it was supposed to look that way. Like, okay, bad.
The Speed Force is supposed to look like this messed up CGI. Don't you understand?
Yeah, distort people, and we're viewing it from Flash's reality, guys.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Like, no.
If Flash has to see that every time he runs, I don't think he would ever run again.
But here's the thing, right? We've seen, like, I don't know, comics for years, not to mention the Flash TV show, animated films, right? We've seen what the Speed Force can look like, and why they chose to do that was just so bizarre and just not good. It's one thing if they change something and it's like, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. It looks different, but fine, right? Like, but now it's like you change it to something. It looks terrible. Like, it just looks terrible. And then tell us it's like it's supposed to look that way. But the thing in the end was like cameo proof, Joy. That's a great phrase. And for real, we are gonna all steal it and use it. I don't know, like the person I assume it's targeted at, me. It's like, don't you like Christopher Reeve? I'm like, yeah, I do. When he's alive and in a movie, not when he's a CGI PS2 version just standing there looking. I assumed they would all have to come out and do some, I don't know, like maybe they'd all come out and do some big fight, and you use a couple of stock footage, carefully curated close-ups, and then you do a CGI model over there, and it's all just a bunch of chaos. That's what I think, like a big splash page of a comic book. That's what when I heard about
like
these
the
cameos.
Crisis.
Like the cover of Crisis, it's like hundreds of things, and you're like, oh, look, there's Christopher Reeve over there, or Into the Spider-Verse, where it's like, instead of like, look, it's Christopher Reeve. Look,
and then here comes
Helen Slater.
Helen Slater.
I do like the idea of the Helen Slater thing. To be fair,
I do. And apparently, what, they got her there, and then they just CG over to her face.
Same thing with Nick Cage. Like, what are you doing? You got the two people who are actually alive in this thing, and you just CGI them to hell. But the idea was that, at least to have them together physically, quote unquote. But see, Joey, your point, George Clooney. That is a cameo. That is hey, isn't it cool that we got George Clooney and brought him in here? That's its own. if it's cool or not, that's its own conversation. But the fact that he was
if it's just a random actor who's never played Batman, and the same premise of like, who the fuck is this? Like it
that
lands.
That was a funny line.
Yeah, it lands no matter who the actor is. Whoever is like, oh, somebody else, Batman's different again. Oh no, I still messed up. Like it still like matches the ending you were doing. And
but they didn't. What if it's CGI Adam West there? Right, that's not a cameo. There's a desecration to some. I mean, I'm serious. Like, people. That's is that a crazy thing to say? Like, you
no, it would be in terrible taste.
Like Marvel stopped doing Stan Lee cameos all of a sudden. Like they didn't just keep those going.
And we love Luke Skywalker and Mandalorian and Boba Fett, but the difference is Mark Hamill.
Last Jedi.
Yeah, no, you don't be better than that. But the difference is he's there. He's involved. Like he's you just him and Rosario Dawson are hanging out on set, having a great time. Like that's essential. Like that's why I don't want to see CGI Christopher Reeve. You know, you should see he's Brandon Routh.
Yeah,
exactly.
Tom Welling.
That's a cameo. Tom Welling. Like you know, this is great. Like all they had to do with this was like in the series finale of Smallville, where he's having the when he learns how to fly and he's seeing all the stuff through the pillars. Like just have that.
The
Smallville the ride.
Slogan of your show, you know, like that thing that Talkville stole.
So, well, first of all, that's not the same scene.
Are you talking about when he
always hold the show? When I will annihilate you. Your favorite line, Lance?
Yes,
that when he's like floating back there. And he sees all this stuff. Like that's all you had to do was like, oh look, there's Christopher Reeve and there's Adam West and Burt Ward anyway. That's all you had to do is stock footage. You know, just like
red skies of death, Batman.
And instead they like slow motion CGI'd like George Reeve up there, and
if it calls for Christopher Reeve to come in and do something, I would understand. Like, oh well, we gotta you gotta find a way to make that happen, right? But it's like if he's just gonna stand there. Fan trailers for the last 30 years have been doing like fun mashups way better than this, and it's just it's disrespectful and like, so who was this going to please? Like me, the biggest Christopher Reeve fan in the world, is just as angry as can be about this, and then people who don't care like, well, that looked weird. Isn't that the guy who was Superman in the 70s? Weird. Like, that's not going to be reaction. And then they didn't even get a Jay Garrick. They got some like stock AI
weird. It's still AI like Jay Garrick. Like that's what it was. Like so, but like also it would be way more in like tasteful if it was like Flash is fighting the villain at the end. Let's say it's not him or it's him or future him, whatever. Still, but like he can't do it. Like the guy is just like too powerful or something, but then like all these other multiverse or time travel or whatever versions of characters come out, so like you do get like that Christopher Reeve, but it's just a fast punch, you know, like and then you get like maybe some other characters from other universes, you know, like maybe Adam West Batman does something, you know, for like a little bit, you know, something.
There were 100 ways to do
like
this.
There's something quick, you know.
Well, you have John Wesley Shipp and Grant Gustin both run up behind him. Hey, we got your back, buddy, right? And you're like, what are this? But
it'd be so cool.
It's so easy. You have people who are alive who just played the Flash like a month ago
who say they wanted the cameo.
But I'm kind of glad they're not tainted by all this, honestly. It's like part of me is like they deserve to be there, but then I'm like, I'm glad that Brandon Routh wasn't dragged down into this, you know.
Yeah. Ezra Miller has cameoed on the best Flash show ever, and not the other way around.
Well, the second best Flash show ever after the 1990s. Okay, let's talk averages here. Okay, this show is 9 years, and average 6 of them are sucked. Okay, like let's be.
Yes. Yeah, sure. But the first season of both, you could see which one was better.
That's true.
We'll say higher highs though. For the Flash.
Higher highs. Yeah.
Lance, you know, what do you think, man? You feel vindicated? You feel?
I feel fine. Y'all are thinking about this way too hard. And it's just real simple, y'all. The movie sucked. I told you it was going to suck. I knew it was going to suck. And you know what? I hesitate to say that I'm glad it sucked, because there are real people who are going to be affected by this, but that is the consequence of the people involved and Ezra Miller for putting them into this position in the first place. This cements the fact that the DCU, this experiment of the DCU, right?
DCEU.
DCEU, excuse me. I can't put like a nail in anything that James has done just yet. But
DCU is coming up. Blue Beetle's the first character, Superman Legacy, the first movie. Please continue.
But the DCEU, a massive failure, right? And yes, I know certain movies made money, but it also lost a lot as well, like in conjunction with that, number one. But it's a failure as far as it's failed monetarily, it failed culturally, it failed philosophically, it failed emotionally, right? It didn't get the love that it wanted from that they really wanted from audiences. It didn't get the critical acclaim that it wanted from audiences and critics and other writers and pundits. It didn't impact the culture in a positive way. It had no positive impact amongst like fandom culture. Like it just spawned a whole lot of negativity in general. This is a massive failure, and the brand of DC is irrevocably like tarnished as a result of this. It's going to take them years to come to dig themselves out of this hole.
Yeah, 2 years until 2025. Am I right? Superman Legacy.
Then everybody's going to flock to those theaters, and Superman Legacy is going to make $1 billion.
Lance, did you know that Aquaman made $1 billion?
I do.
Dude, for real quick, I don't understand. I don't understand why Aquaman made $1 billion.
Dude, I love that movie. I think it's great.
I love it too, but I don't understand how it made $1 billion.
I think it's on the high of like Wonder Woman.
Exactly.
Like everybody,
I think,
but Justice League came out in between those.
But I think it was like too soon. Like everybody's just like, oh, who cares? Like, and then they just go like, oh, Aquaman. Like, so.
I look at Aquaman. I look at Black Adam. I was like, I mean, Aquaman's better, but like, are they to the general public, the people not like us? How are those different movies?
Whoa,
how are they?
Whoa. Let's pump those brakes, Zach. Let's calm down for a second. Let's hold on.
I've seen every DC movie on opening weekend.
Yeah,
I have had the row to myself every time.
Look, man,
and I live in a college town. I saw Endgame at the same theater. It's just a different experience every single time.
And here's the thing: the sad thing about Aquaman making $1 billion and nobody understanding why, right? The worst part about that and the saddest part about that is the people in charge also don't understand why it made it, right? And the fact that they don't understand and weren't able to figure out what worked there and to copy paste that onto their future projects and to ensure that they got the love and the support that movie did is another example of their failing.
Well, why does it take 5 years to come out of the sequel? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's all those reshoots.
Because every decision that they make, say it with everybody, is wrong.
Is the wrong one.
Yeah, firing Zack Snyder was wrong. I agree with that. So Isaiah, you're not a fan of Black Adam.
Well, no, it's not.
You heard that?
I'm not a. Listen,
that rocks, man.
Heat.
I listen to that all the time. It gets me hyped. Give me that juice.
But it's less that I dislike Black Adam and more that just that I think Aquaman is an infinitely superior movie. Freudian slip there. Yeah. But it's an infinitely superior movie to Black Adam.
Oh, it's much better. But like, I don't know. I feel like the Fast and Furious crowd, those are the same movie. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like to the general
100%. 100%.
Really? I think like people like, okay, me, like my boyfriend, he saw Black Adam, and I told him, I was just like, because I saw it first, and I was like, just when we go into this, just have a little.
So you saw it twice. Look at you, man. Trying to change the hierarchy of power.
I had to go see it twice. I wanted to see that hierarchy. And so, but when I saw it by myself, I got to like the last third of the movie and my eyes just glazed over. Like I was done like with the movie. Like I have never experienced such, like I was sitting there, I was like, this is the most generic thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
like it's
true.
the generic of the generic. Like it just felt so
true.
Like, and I don't get that with Aquaman. I was just
exactly.
Like, this is
that's fair.
Awesome.
Oh, see, I think they're the same. Like Ant-Man. Ant-Man is a really good movie.
Yeah,
and these all fall in that same category. And like I saw Black Adam by myself, and about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I showed it to my wife on Max, and I like she's
Max.
yes, I had to get it right. My wife is still laughing at the "Tell them the Man in Black sent you" jokes. Still, like,
Hey, you know what? I have never been more hyped. I'm serious. Like, this is serious. I've never been more hyped at the end of a DCEU movie than I was at the post-credit scene of Black Adam. I'm 100%. I'm not even lying.
The emotional roller coaster of that movie.
Like
people
like it's Sabak, right? It's the card game from Star Wars. Is the bad guy in Black Adam?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The worst villain of any film ever.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, I'm just going like, I don't care. Like, whatever.
Even more than Enchantress.
Ooh. Yeah, you're right. Enchantress is worse.
Yeah.
At least Enchantress looked cool. Like,
this is cool to you? This is cool.
I like the shimmy. I like the shimmy.
Not when you're doing it, but maybe when Cara Delevingne is.
Fair enough. You know what I'm saying, though?
Debatable though.
Okay, yeah. So okay, Isaiah, I stepped too far, but just it was to make my analogy, like, of Aquaman and Black Adam, right? It's not an AB thing, but I just think, like, to normal people who go about their lives, don't think about this every day like we do. They're like, oh yeah, another one of those big superhero movies. Jason, oh cool. The Rock, oh cool. You know, Fast and Furious guys. That's where my mind goes.
I can receive that. I don't know. I guess I just think maybe we're discounting the intelligence of the average moviegoer. I think the general audience is still able to recognize a good movie as opposed to
that is an excellent way we can start wrapping this up and say, you know what, I am proud of the audience members for not going to see The Flash, you know, because I thought they're like, oh cool, Michael Keaton. Like, I'm shocked it's doing so bad. Like, I am like, Lance, even you didn't think it was going to do this bad.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, like, I guess somebody woke up and like was like, well, what is this? You know, it's a perfect storm of everything, right? It's the Ezra Miller of it all, it's the DCEU of it all, it's the we're rebooting this and none of these movies count of it all. It's the, you know, I don't know, like, there's a lot of things. There's 100 things, probably not 100, but there's a lot of things, and it's just shocking. Like, it's going to be one of the biggest flops of all time.
Yeah,
because of how much it cost. Right, it's not even going to make back its production, like worldwide box office. It's not going to make back its production, and that's crazy to me. And there's 2 more of these movies coming out.
But one,
yep. No, 2.
The second, it's the first superhero.
Blue Beetle. No, it's Blue Beetle and it's Aquaman, and 2, and they're.
Yeah, we count the Blue Beetle as the characters, the DCU.
Now, where does the Suicide Squad fall in all of this?
Well, they're all continuing, obviously.
Is that so? Those are the
that never got touched. No,
the first team of the DCU. What's going on there?
Well, okay, as I understand it, okay, so Peacemaker season 2 is going to start after Superman Legacy.
Of course it is.
So
neat.
It doesn't make any sense.
You need a hard reboot. You gotta. Yeah. That's why you can't hire a guy who's already working there to save your failed universe. You need an under new management side. James is not new management. He is under same management. That's not going to bring people back to the apartment complex when it's gotten on the news. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or at least you need like
under same management. I need someone to make a banner like that on DC building. Under same management,
or at least like he's in charge where like they have like a stipulation like you can't keep what you did, like you have to just reboot it all.
Yeah. So and that's why I'm like cautiously optimistic about Superman Legacy. It's like, okay, yeah, I want to see a Superman movie, but it's like what is it part of? Like, if I have to sit down and explain to people like where this fits with everything, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that guy, because we're always that guy, aren't we, Lance?
Oh, awful. I still have people asking me
fun.
Like where Christian Bale is and when did he come back from France? Like what happened?
I remember my dad was, when I told my dad about Batman vs Superman, he's like, well, he's gonna fight Christian Bale. I was like, no, he's gonna fight Daredevil.
There's so many people confused about the end of the Flash movie with the George Clooney thing and then with the after credit scene, because they're just like, no, this is the new DCU, and then some people were just like, no, this is the
Batman and Robin universe. Yeah.
He had George Clooney there, but then he went back in time again and fixed that. Now it is like Ben Affleck, Batman's back, and I'm like, no,
why?
Because
why would they even spend any time? Because before the movie came out, they started saying, "Oh yeah, Ezra's back." Like,
Joey, no one else can play the Flash but Ezra Miller.
Like, wait,
did you know this?
wait until the movie comes out. Like if you're gonna be as like I'm just being as cynical, like the dollar drives everything. Wait till the movie comes out because you gave yourself the perfect like he's lost, he's gone. He's
right. He's in Batman and Robin. Oh, you talk
Yeah.
about being cynical, dollar driving everything. Andy Muschietti, right? He just directed arguably the worst flop of all time in Hollywood in a movie, and now he's you're directing the next Batman movie. So I mean that's where like they just everybody used to just did not say anything when these things come out. Like don't say that. Oh yeah, we've already. That's how they got in this trouble to begin with. They were like, hey, Justice League's coming the year after BVS, and they're like, oh wait, right? Because there were people had their comments and had their response, and we were like, so they freaked out and like they turned Justice League inside out because of the response. Where it's like, y'all, like, why anyway? Like, yeah, they did not announce actors are coming back, directors are coming back. Like, stop with this 10-year plan thing. It just like, what are we doing?
Not make Funko Pops with babies like floating in the air with the Flash saving. They're marketing the baby thing.
Yeah, can we? No. Who was not offended by the baby in the microwave?
I was not because
I was not offended.
I was just like he's just saving the baby.
So why put it in the microwave?
But at least he's not turning on.
Did it not ding when the baby was done in the microwave?
No, did it not? I'm
going to be honest.
No, it did.
I'm going to be honest. Know. I felt guilty the first time I set my son.
You should feel guilty, Joey.
I felt guilty the first time I set my son on the couch unattended. Like, yeah, I did not enjoy any of that stuff.
No, but for the record, those babies would be dead. Just for the record, they would be dead.
Like as soon as I saw them floating, I was like,
"Yeah, I'm like,
what are they about? What are they about to do here?"
Like baby shake syndrome or whatever.
Exactly,
like, they would be dead.
Pulling back the curtain a little bit. So Kev also went to an advanced screening, and we recorded Always Hold On to Star Wars like the day after he went to that screening, but before I went to mine. And he's like, "Yeah, there's this really weird thing with a bunch of babies," and I was just like, I don't know what he's talking. I don't know what this is about, but something happens.
Yeah, that's a strange statement out of context.
Well, and I was just like, I don't know what this is going to be. And then I got to the theater and I'm like, oh God, it's happening.
What a fun way to endear people to your superhero. Putting a baby in a microwave.
And the only time they ever use the food thing. So
dude, thank you for bringing that up. That's what we call a setup. Setup and payoff. It's like, oh no, like we're gonna get to the end of the movie, and his little arm thing is gonna like, I need calories. Oh no, I don't have them, right? And that's never a thing. It's never a thing to the point that Dark Flash can go back in time 100,000 times, and I guess never need calories. Like, why introduce that at all?
Y'all are thinking about this way too hard. This movie sucked. Okay? Stop trying to make sense of something that sucked. Bad. You're wasting your energy and your time.
Well,
it's true.
Zach, to your point about them not talking about anything, I mean, they're doing it right now with Blue Beetle. So.
Damn.
Because they know better. They actually learned something. They learned a lesson.
When is that? Is that coming out in August?
Yeah, it's like 4
next month. Wow. Well,
yeah,
Lance,
a month and a half. Not even.
Lance and I will be back with our night of report on Blue Beetle.
Whoppers.
Oh man, is that real?
I don't think it is, but
okay. I was wondering. I was just like, I don't know.
But Lance's tweet was hilarious. If you know what we're talking about, go look up Sir Lance Lester on Twitter. And
did you do that in like 1 minute, 10 minutes?
Like 1 minute.
Oh,
whopper. And you know what? I'm also kind of disappointed that tweet didn't do any numbers. I'm a little disappointed.
Lance, if you want to do numbers, you got to go on the internet and say, I didn't like the Flash, and then people will come at you. So maybe not now.
Oh, yeah. You'll get those guys who just like, I'm going to go see the Flash for the 5th time.
Where are those people at the theater?
Well, my sitting in a row by themselves, like
my theater was packed when I went. It was packed, but like when those cameos came up at the end, just like a quick thing, I heard audible from like a whole bunch of people, like when the Nick Cage thing, audible from everybody going like, "What is that? Like what? Who? Why is Nick Cage on the screen?" Like
the only laugh I heard in my theater was when George Clooney showed up. That was the first time.
It was also in my theater. Who is that? What's going on? Like my boyfriend turns to me, he goes like, "Who is that?" I'm just like, that's another.
Is that Ocean's 11?
I was just like, that's another Batman. He's like, oh, it's just like, okay.
They overestimate. And look, I love the 80s and 90s Batman movies, good and bad, right? I've grown up with them. They're part of my DNA, right? But I think they kind of overestimated the like mainstream appeal. Like here's the thing, right? Michael Keaton, I thought alone he would have propped this up. That was their thing as well. That's why they took out Thomas Wayne and put in other Bruce Wayne. But it's almost like maybe you should have kept the Thomas Wayne story with Jeffrey Dean Morgan because that's like an emotional core to the movie and to the story you're telling instead of like, Michael Keaton. You know, because no impact on anything. He has there's no stakes, there's no drive. Anyway, Lance.
Every decision they make is wrong.
It's wrong.
Right. So they shouldn't have fired Zack Snyder. So you're right, Lance. Absolutely.
Yes, but not for the reasons that you're thinking.
That's well, we could talk another 2 hours about this, but I don't know. I feel like it's been interesting. Maybe like when it drops on Max, I guess I'll watch it again. Lance, you're gonna have to come over for that. I don't want to watch it by myself.
He's like, get the alcohol already.
I'm gonna maybe watch The Flash by myself. Oh man, I don't know. I'm
gonna make Sarah make sure that you never watch that again.
Oh, that's fine. Well, she'd be like, "F this."
Yes.
I guess I don't know. I have to buy it on Blu-ray. I buy all DC Comics movies on Blu-ray.
Make Stan.
It'll be cheap soon. It'll
Make a stand.
Look, it'll be on sale
Just
for $10 on Black Friday.
Take a short break
own,
until the DCU starts with Blue Beetle.
Yeah. Do you own Jonah Hex on DVD?
I don't.
Okay, so then you don't need to own The Flash. You don't.
That was but I have Wonder Woman 1984.
Do you own Green Lantern?
Squad. Of course, I own Green Lantern. Green Lantern. Listen, The Flash makes Green Lantern look like Batman Returns. I'm not gonna say the Dark Knight.
I was about to say, let's be careful at that stage.
The Flash makes Green Lantern look like Black Adam, y'all. It's
what bad movie after another.
This is fun, y'all. This was a lot of fun. You guys had a lot of good things that I hadn't even thought of yet about the Flash and stuff. And I'm glad we got our Superman talk in. For as bad and the disaster this was, we got a lot of good Superman content coming out right now. Superman Lois is coming back for another season. Superman Legacy, it's out there. We'll see what happens with it. And then we have next time on the roundtable, we're going to talk about we'll probably talk some more Superman Lois, of course, but we'll talk some more Superman in My Adventures with Superman, which Lance, you've seen the first 2 episodes, right? And sure. 2 thumbs up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. 2 thumbs up.
Every decision they make is wrong.
With live action, not with animation.
They don't pay for some reason. They only pay attention to the big budget movies.
Yeah, respect animation.
Hashtag. On that note, I do respect animation, and I can never take Mask of the Phantasm off of my number 1 Batman movie just because of my friendship with Lance. I feel like I have to. I feel like I have to keep it there at number 1 forever. So.
Like by your rules, it was released theatrically. Okay, so it has that going for it.
Yeah, no.
Where is the Lego Batman on your list? That's all I need to know.
Ooh, great question.
I gotta reevaluate and put that on my list, don't I?
Like middle, right?
Yeah,
middle.
I think it's like 4 or 5.
I'd say top. Yeah.
The best Batman movie for you?
It's like 4 or 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5. Best is a strong word, but it's definitely towards that upper echelon.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I haven't seen it, so.
Oh no.
I guess. Hey, Lance. I guess I don't respect animation. Anyway, no, this has been a lot of fun, y'all. And thanks all for taking your time and your patrons and your support of the show, because we need you. If you want to hear us cover season 9 on Always on Smallville, go to patreon.com/alwaysmallville with 1 S. But anyway, people want to find you out there online, everyone. Lance, where can they find you?
You can find me at Sir Lance Laster on all of my social medias, and you can find me talking about all the things that make Arrow on Always Hold On to Arrow, and you can find us on Twitter at the moment
Very good. What about you, Joy?
You can find me on Twitter at JoeyD94_13. You can also Find me talking Star Wars with Chris Fuchs and Cavante Chillis on Always Hold On to Star Wars. And also coming up in August, I'm starting a new passion project with the Power and Responsibility podcast, where we talk about how our greatest heroes can also be our greatest teachers, and looking at the different lessons we can learn in different mediums of comic books and everything. And you can find us on Twitter at GreatPowerPod38.
Very good. Keep an eye out for all those. Excited for your new project, Joy.
Thank you.
And always on the Star Wars. Shout out. And always on Arrow. Shout out. It's like, guys, it's like having a bunch of kids and you got to like give them all. I'm my only child. I understand how to do this. It's like, yeah, you all have podcasts and I'm proud of you all and good luck and whatever. So anyway, Kasey, where can people find you out there?
You can just find me on Twitter at the Panda Supreme. I just kind of talk on there. Just you'll just see me comment on random stupid people's things because I have nothing better to do. So
love it. Appreciate all Twitter engagement. So keep that up. Isaiah, what about you, man?
You can find me on YouTube stealing other people's, takes and statements and stuff.
Isaiah's ahead of the game. He doesn't even have a Twitter. He's ahead of the game.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe starting a YouTube channel? ? Who knows? That might be in the works. We'll see.
All right. We'll look forward to it. All right, y'all. Well, it's been fun talking about Superman and the Flash and all things in between. But until next time, all together now. Always
hold on
to talk
to the Flash. If you're watching this and you're not a member of the Patreon and you would like to be part of these conversations, go to patreon.com/alwaysmallville with one S. As for the podcast itself, you can find us on Facebook at Always Hold On to Smallville, and you can find us on Twitter at alwaysmallville with one S, and you can send us an email at alwaysmallville@gmail.com, once again with one S. And I encourage you all to listen to our flagship show, Always Hold On to Smallville, our first spinoff, Always Hold On to Arrow, our next spinoff, Always Hold On to Superman and Lois, and then, of course, Always Hold On to Star Wars. So we have our Always Hold On to family of podcasts. We have going here the ever-expanding multiverse of our podcasts. And so if you like the conversation here, check us out, podcast form over there. No video for those. That's a whole nother format and venue we have going on over there. So there you have it. And we'll see you guys next time. And until then, always hold on to Smallville.